3, 2, 1.
Check it out.
Okay, so let's get started. I got no idea how long this is gonna take. This may be the shortest or the longest class, I don't know. But we are only gonna talk about the mentality of making money today. And as said, the inspiration will be trading in the zone. I would say like 80% of this is from that book. So let's get started.
Questions are based off of this presentation.
Yeah,
FYI.
yeah. So they may be a little trickier. It's not going to be the like what candlestick is this, or because we won't be talking any technicals at all today. So let's get started. And here are some quotes to begin with. Questions we all may ask ourselves at one time or another. I have heard them all or asked myself at least one or two of them. One of the classics is why is the market against me personally? Even if it may be said with some irony. I know some people really start to believe that, okay, if I buy, price will go down. They feel that they give the whole market bad luck. Another quite common one is the one up to the left. I'm really good at technical analysis. Why am I not making the money I should? I've even heard people say, not in this group, but like, oh my god, I'm so much better than this or that guy, but still he seems to make profit every day and I barely make anything, and so on. So today we are hopefully gonna get an answer to these questions. Because in general, people tend to focus on fundamental analysis and technical analysis. I mean, we have a lot of people in the group and on the market in general that are superb at the fundamentals and maybe even more at the technicals. And they spend hours and hours analyzing the market from a fundamental perspective, from a technical perspective, but a lot of us skip the mental part, the mental analysis. And these are like the 3 keys to getting real good at trading. Because if you analyze your trades from a technical standpoint, you will get a lot of answers. From a fundamental standpoint too, of course, like when that bomb hit Poland by mistake and the market dropped for an hour or two. It was a fundamental play. Nobody could know that Ukraine or Russia or whoever it was, depending on who you want to believe, would misfire a missile, and people started talking like, oh my god, this NATO may invoke their articles and this may go to hell. But the mental part is a lot trickier because it's different for each and every one of us. Because what I'm struggling with is not what, for example, Holly or Doc is struggling with. We all have different approaches and we all have different foundations that we start to build on as we start our trading journey. And why do we even start trading? Trading in the zone talks about the attractions. And one of the big ones is that in trading, you make your own rules. You don't go to a workplace and a boss tell you can do this and this, and you can't do that. And you can have a 15-minute break, but you need to have it when this and this is done, and you can only have it for 15 minutes, and blah, blah, blah. There is also the temptation of more or less an unlimited salary. I mean, traders can have months when they make 5 times as much as they did when they had a day job. Or you can have a day job and realize that, oh my God, I make more money in 1 hour in the market usually than I make 8 hours at work. And the possibilities are more or less limitless. And it's also one of the few things where you can make a lot of money and you don't have to go to any school for it. I mean, you could be an influencer or YouTuber or OnlyFans or whatever. But I mean, this is one of the few occupations where you can really sit at home, read your books, listen to smart people, watch YouTube videos, and make a living of it. So I think that's a great attraction, but also one of the big traps, because too many people get into this game thinking it's going to be easy. But there are a lot of dangers that follows with these attractions. And one of it is, of course, that a lot of people in your surroundings probably don't like what you are doing or don't know what you are doing. And when you don't know something, it becomes a little sketchy, a little suspicious. And they have heard of all these people failing, and they keep talking about, oh, you may make 1 or 2 good trades, but I know a guy and he lives on welfare now because blah, 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 blah. And maybe the best point that trading in the zone makes is if you are trying to stay disciplined in this environment that people have talked about as dangerous and risky and stuff, if you start to succeed, the addiction will kick in pretty quick. Because you will feel that you are one of the few. And you are proving your surroundings a point. That you could do something that was more or less impossible. And maybe even more interesting is that in a world where we can set our own rules, the willingness to set rules is pretty limited. And it's easier in a world without rules to not take responsibility. And this is one of the main points of today's class, because you need to start to take responsibility for your trading. And it's totally okay not to agree with what I say. It's totally okay to voice different opinions. You can jump in on the chat or start to speak. It's totally fine to interrupt me. But in my opinion, and in the book's opinion, you must take responsibility. And one of the first things you must do is realize that the market is not predictable. So you must be predictable. You can't break your own rules. You can't FOMO in, even though you have promised yourself 20 times, I'm not going to FOMO, I'm not going to just jump in a play. And the market won't be consistent. As the example with that missile over Poland. Nobody could expect that to happen. Maybe not even the guy who fired the missile. And there is some example in the book of a dude that's some factory, and he talks to one of these great traders about the price for, I don't remember what it was, it's some kind of raw material. And that trader says that, oh, look now, every time it goes down to this level, it's going to bounce right up. And then that boss in the factory says, oh, you sure? Yeah, I'm totally sure. This is a super safe play. And then he goes out into the factory and starts screaming at them to dump the prices. And then, of course, the chart also dumps. So the market is never, ever totally predictable. And we are going to talk a lot about the fears, because we all feel fear or pain, as the book refers to a lot of the times. And when we are trading with fear, we are gonna fuck up our trades sooner or later. And that's why we need to look at our errors and really do this instead of looking to the outside with technical analysis and fundamental analysis. We need to look at our inside. How did I mess up this trade? What did I do? And also important, and a lot of people do this, many won't admit they do it, but don't victimize yourself. Nobody is a victim of the market, because the market gives us, I mean, there are over 8 billion plays you can do every 24 hours in the market. Probably even more now. That text is like 10 years old. So there are always good plays out there. There are always ways to get out of a play before you get into the red.
I am A1 guilty of that. Don't victimize yourself. I have had many breakdowns to Kron in the DM. The market hates me. The world hates me. This isn't meant for me. I'm being punished for something. Yeah, it happens. It happens to the best of us. I admit that. Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, and that leads to the next point here. Stop seeing the market as your enemy. Because if you do, and if you think that the market makers or Citadel or whatever is always conspiring against you, yes, the market is manipulated. I'm not going to argue that. But why would you work for someone that always want to cause you harm? I mean, that makes no sense. That's like asking to fight like Conor McGregor in your first MMA fight. It really makes no sense to me. So if you think that the market is your enemy, I strongly suggest even maybe think about, is this what I'm going to do? Because the market is the one that gives you the money, and you are going to take the money that the market offers you to take. It's really that simple.
Basically, you have to find your love, your passion for the market as well. You can't just have that hatred, or you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
You can have hatred. I hate the ones that manipulate and blah, blah, blah. But I've also found my love and my passion for the other parts of the market, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, the market, as we talked about, I think it was like 2 or 3 classes ago, the market, yes, it's been volatile, it's been annoying for many of us. It has triggered a lot of stop losses, jumping up and down, but the market also always gives you opportunities to get in. Like if we take SPY this Friday, it was a trend upwards. We had dips, and a lot of people were like, oh, it's time to get in puts. But that was really your opportunity to get in calls when we had those dips. The market can be quite nice. It always gives you a second chance if you guess or predict correct, of course. I'm not trying to make it sound easier than it is. So we are gonna have a little story time about 2 traders, Sarah and John. Both are into day trading. Sarah is new on the job. She has 3 months of experience. She used to trade before this more as a part-time hobby. Mainly did stocks and held for medium term. But now she has started day trading. She has an 80% win rate. Her account has more than doubled in these 3 months. She's still learning a lot, but she, of course, has some basic knowledge of TA, and she tries to keep herself updated. She could be in our chat or somewhere else trying to get new information. And then we have another day trader. We call him John. He has traded for 5 years. He is a technical analysis guru, and he's great at fundamental analysis. So the first 4 years, he's had struggles, but he's managed to make a living on it. That's all he has done. But the market has not been kind to him the last year, and his win rate have decreased significantly. And he's even thinking that, okay, maybe my trades will do better if I if I have a half-time job, because that means I can still get some money flowing in and be more calm and collected. And now he has even started to look at the old strategies that used to work for him to better manage his trades. So, open question, who would you follow? If you had to sheep one of these the next week, all trades they do, they are gonna alert and you have to jump in. Who would you choose? You can type in chat or speak, or if you have an opinion, go ahead. Rob is gonna sheep Sarah.
Hey, I have a story. Like I love this topic. Can you guys mind if I share it?
Go ahead.
All right.
Please.
Cool. All right. So this was when I realized what taking emotion out of your trades will do for you. Okay. We all remember the digital world run. Was it? I want to say it was October 2021. People were making hand over fist. Well, at the same time that was happening, I was like, okay, I'm not going to trade anything because I'm going to be flying to Texas. As I was flying to Texas is when DWAC started to run, and it was running insane, and people were like, oh my God, all this other stuff. And I started feeling like I missed out. So as soon as I got to my dad's house in Texas, I started looking for a sympathy play, because plays like that with big news and a lot of FOMO, I've come to find out that there are sympathy plays that play out. So I started digging, and I found PHUN. And the reason I found PHUN is because when Donald Trump was doing his first presidential campaign, he used PHUN as a mobile platform for his presidential run. And so I started digging. I was like, okay, here's my sympathy play right here. And then I started researching. So I decided to buy in. I bought in, I want to say it was like just under $2, like a $1.80 something, whatever. And I went in pretty heavy because I had built my conviction. And one of the things that I, through all my research and, just I was doing TA, I was on this thing. And I figured my price target was $20. And it was a very lofty price target. So, after I bought in, after I looked at, all the TA, I went into social media and people were talking about it on Facebook, on Reddit, on Twitter. And I was like, okay, this is a good play. And I was so much interested in this sympathy play that I kept researching it after hours. I was like, okay, I got it. Is it going to hit 20? And come 3 o'clock in the morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning, I finally passed out. And I set my alarm before I fell asleep, and then the market opened. I missed my alarm. I overslept, and I woke up and I saw that PHUN had hit $24 on this enormous gap up, and it halted. So I was faced with a very difficult decision. I was like, okay, is it going to keep going? Or after the halt, should I get out? Because I didn't know. It was halted right at $24. And it hit my price target. So I was like, damn, where is this going to open? Should I hold? Should I set a limit sell? What should I do? My emotions were going through. They were going wild. Because at the time, I had made pretty much more money than I had ever made on a single trade that I wasn't planning on just hodling. So I decided that I was going to completely get out. Whenever the PHUN started trading again, it gapped down all the way to $9. And I jumped out as fast as I could. Right. and I still made some pretty good money. However, had I had been emotionally invested to that, I probably would have held to see if it went past 24 or my actual price target. But I got out of it. And I was like, okay, should I get back in? You know, this and that. And I was going, and I was like, you know what? Profits are profits, gains are gains. So I stayed out of it, and it kept coming down. Right. And that was my realization that taking emotion out of it would work, because had I listened to my emotion and, you know, everything that was going on with that at the time, I probably would have stayed in and just prayed and hoped that it would have gone back to 20. And right now I want to say it's trading at like 70 cents. So I would have lost a lot of money on that. Right. So, yeah, I love the topic. This is one of the topics that I try and preach as much as humanly possible. Take emotions out. Gains are gains no matter what they look like. Hang in there. But you've got to find your conviction, but you've got to be ready to just get rid of that emotion, right? So thank you guys for letting me talk. Love the conversation.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally. And we are going to have an example that is pretty much like that one. Not really, but anyway, we got some answers. Some people say Sarah, because of her win rate, and yes, I agree. I mean, an 80% win rate is not bad at all. But there is another factor, I don't know if it was mentioned, that would make me pick her over Jan, and that is she has yet to experience the fear and the pain. She's on a roll here. She is totally careless, and she trades. It's fun. She's making money. The market is treating her good. She got everything going for her. And of course, that's probably going to change sooner or later. But remember, most pros or people who has done this a long time, they always say, like, oh, be ready to blow your first account. You are gonna have that month or maybe 6 months of what they call luck, and then it's gonna go to hell. And I mean, it's not beginner's luck. There's no such thing in my mind as beginner's luck. What this is about is really, is really that you don't have that fear. And I can take, for example, the AMC, when we had an AMC only chat. I mean, we were more or less invincible because it just kept going up and up and up. Oh, it had some days when it went brutally down, but I mean, we had no fear at all. But then some people started to like, oh, okay, I may have bought in at the top here. And then when the fear spreads, people start to make bad decisions. They sell at the wrong time, they panic sell, so on, so on. So if we keep taking this girl as an example, she is going to be one in the statistics in this example, because she's going to go from her 80% win rate to blowing her account and even giving up on trading. I'm not very positive this evening. At least it's evening here in Sweden. Because what happened to her after a while is she took one of those huge losses that happens to everyone. So she felt, oh my god, the market is turning on me. And she goes to her mentor and it's like, oh my god, I've been so successful. And now I messed up this trade. And the mentor, of course, says, okay, you need to learn more. Go read about RSI, risk management, MACD, supply demand, Bollinger Bands, blah, blah, blah. And you need to look at the candlesticks more. You could have avoided this, didn't you see that gravestone and that doji and blah, 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 blah. And of course, she sits down, starts to study, learns a lot of good stuff, and then comes back. But this time, she has like 4 or 5 indicators and those candlesticks to keep in her mind. So now, when she sees a good trade, she starts to hesitate because not all indicators are pointing in that direction. And she also, and this is important, she remembers the pain, that huge loss, and how that made her not being able to sleep, getting anxious, getting worried about her account, about how to support her family and all this. So now she starts to make trades on hesitation, which means her gains ain't going to be as big. Of course, her risk management is better, so her losses ain't that big either, but those gains gone. And now it's not as fun anymore. She doesn't come to her job, because this is her job, remember, feeling like, oh, damn, I'm gonna have a kick-ass day. Now she comes to work anxious, nervous, afraid. And in the end, she comes to the point where, okay, I need that big win. And she doesn't get it. The losses starts piling up, and she starts thinking, oh, the market is rigged against retail. And then one day, she just gives up and becomes one of those 90%. And I think this is very common. And it's going to happen to a lot of us. A lot of us has been through all this, but came back again. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. To take that time and think, how did I approach the market? Okay, I did it wrong. I need to start over. Because she went from being focused on winning. She thought it was super fun. She was carefree. And she didn't expect too much from the market. She was humble. She had limited knowledge. And she was like, wow, I can make gains on this. But then she was pissed a lot when the market closed. Most days ended bad or like in the gray area. And her focus went from that winning mentality to instead, okay, I need to avoid the pain. I need to avoid going to bed tonight feeling like shit. And then, of course, like I said, those bad trains of thoughts starts to come, like, oh, the market is against me. And also, after she had studied, she gained some confidence. She knew a lot of new stuff. And that also means she raised her expectations. And I mean, if it was all about knowledge, we could all take like 5 months or even a year. We make a pact in this group that, okay, let's study for a year. Nobody does a trade. We study every fucking day. If it was that easy, we would do it already and be rich in a year. But it's not going to be that easy. Because what it really comes down to is to have a consistent mind. Because the brain has kind of this auto bias. Because I mean, we take in information all the time. And I mean, this is psychology 101, that the brain and the perception and all this, of all the information we take in, the brain sorts out what it wants us to see. And I mean, there are these great examples like when you are gonna look at a video and then like a mascot comes into the video, but you are focused on something else in the video. So you won't even notice that a big mascot jumps in the video. But that is the brain helping us to survive. And it's the same when it comes to trading. We have this auto bias on all the time. So it's going to sort information after what we expect. And if we start to expect that, oh my god, I'm taking a huge risk, oh, this trade may go to hell, we don't have that consistent mind, and that will mean we are going to lose money for sure. And remember, the information, you perceive it. It's not the market that do it. You need to look at it all the time. And you need to work on your mental processes. Because we can't do anything about this manipulation that exists. So we must work with ourselves and see, what do I do wrong? What do I need to work on? How can I avoid the pain and the big risks? And when it comes to risk, a lot of people see risk as the enemy. But if you ask those really, really good traders that makes a living on this, they are not going to say, I became good at this because I have nerves of steel. I have diamond hands or diamond balls or whatever you want to call it. But they are ready to accept the risk and the consequences. They know that when they go in a trade, it's not 99.9% certain that they are going to win. They know that, okay, this may be a losing trade, but I have my risk management. We have covered that in other classes, like the one we had with Little Rob, right? Is his name? I got a total blackout. Help me.
Little Rob?
Yep, thank you. He talked about risk management. And
Oh, little Ronnie.
Ronnie, yeah, I knew I was off.
Little
Sorry.
Ronnie.
Sorry,
He's
Ronnie.
on Twitter. Yes.
Yeah. And they know that, okay, this trade may go to hell, but it's not going to be the end of the world because they have that proper risk management and they know that the market is about consequences. And when you ask them, I know the guy who wrote Trading in the Zone, he noticed when he worked with professional traders, they had a very hard time explaining how they were so good. And they usually didn't say, oh, I have found this code to the market. If you look at the last 4 numbers in the option chain, blah, 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 blah. They said, like, manage your risk, go with the flow. Oh, remember, stop losses, cut your losses. And what he concluded of that is that they have learned to accept the risk and they trade without fear. And this can take years to master, so I don't expect us to, like, after this class, like, trade fearlessly. But that's really what the title, Trading in the Zone, is all about. That you accept the risk and you accept the consequences, but you won't give in to fear and anxiety and all these different risks that comes. You know, we have talked before about greed and FOMO and all that. So how do you reduce the fear? And this is, of course, different for everyone because we have different backgrounds, different sizes of our accounts, everything. But in general, you need to look at the market objectively and leave the noise out. The hedges ain't waiting around the corner, ready to stab you in the back. Jay Powell, he doesn't raise interest rates to mess with your account or your calls on SPY. And of course, you need to be rigid with the rules. You can't be flexible with the rules. If you have risk management, and I hope you do, you use it all the time. And I get DMs, not every day, thankfully, but every week from people that talk about, okay, I fucked up. I don't know if I'm going to do this anymore. And every damn time, it comes down to, I broke my own rules. Every time. And one of the most common things is the FOMO. That, oh my God, but half of the people were talking in trading rounds about getting puts. So I jumped in, even though I knew I was too late or that the market was going to turn. But I listened to the noise. And we gotta accept that no matter how skilled you are, the market is uncertain. We have all done bad plays. Just look at our alerters who have this huge win rate, and I mean, look at the 8, for example. Look at the watch list we have now by Standard and Canadian. We have, I mean, everyone is doing great alerts, but everyone take losses because the market ain't predictable. Nobody is a fortune teller, and sometimes you have a safe play. You have a play that everything points in your direction, and you are still gonna lose. And that doesn't mean that you should change your strategy. And I know a lot of people felt that way this Friday with SPY, that, oh my god, I was so sure that there was gonna be a dip, but it wasn't. And now I don't know. How am I gonna trade? But, I mean, yes, maybe that was the logical thing, that it was gonna dip sooner or later, but now it didn't. But on Monday, maybe it will go up and then dip. Who knows? So you need to get to know yourself. What are my biases? What are my fears? And also ask yourself, why am I afraid of those things? But also look at it from the other perspective. Where do I have my winning trades? What do I do when I win a lot? And of course, self-evaluate. Because I notice a lot of people are kind of stuck in their way of thinking. Because they may have had these great trades in the beginning using, for example, just RSI. And then they are like, oh no, I'm just going to use RSI. I hate Bollinger Bands, or I'm never going to learn candlesticks. That's just mumbo jumbo. But sometimes maybe it's time to look, okay, what am I missing? I had that great start, the so-called beginner's luck, but now I'm more and more down and out. So you need to be self-critical. Do we have any questions or comments in the chat? Because I'm just looking at the screen on the PowerPoint.
Nope, lots of comments. Just talking amongst themselves about, the topic.
Yep, that's great. I'm gonna try to wrap this up pretty soon. Another thing the book mentions a lot is the edges. Because if we take a casino as an example, they may have 200 slot machines, and they have a return to player rate. I looked this up. I think it's around, at least the online casinos in Sweden, they have a return to player rate at around 95%. So that's still, I mean, that's good. You can win, of course, but the casino has that 5% edge. And the same should go for your trading. You get the edge when you feel that you have the probability on your side that there is a bigger chance that, for example, SPY is gonna shoot up than not. And that means that in the long run, you will come out on top. And that's why I keep referring to a trading journal. When I said that the first time, some people thought I said trading urinal, but it's journal, I believe. Keep a trading journal, write down what works for you, analyze your trades, try to find when did you have that edge. Like if I take myself, for example, I said like 2 weeks ago that, oh my god, I'm only gonna play meta because I'm really good with that one. Have I played it since that? No. Why? Because I'm stupid? Probably. I don't follow my own rules. So in an unpredictable market, you must be predictable. Because if you are as unpredictable in your place as the market is with its moves, we have a disaster waiting to happen. I think we can skip Bill, because that's a FOMO story, and I think Stonk covered that even better. So poor Bill will have to wait. And I'm nearing the end now, but one interesting thing, especially for me as a counselor, that the book takes up is that we in the Western world, at least, are taught a lot of things as kids that is probably having a bad impact on our trading. Like we are told, for these are just examples, that money don't grow on trees. Sure, there may be one or two that wins lottery, but you have to work super hard, and then trading is not really work. So, or even in the extremes, that some deity, god, or whoever is going to punish you if you mess up. That brings a lot of fear to the table. And if you're feeling bad, if you're guilty about something, you must have done something wrong. And these are all things that we carry with us into our adult life, and that is going to reflect on our trading, on the anxiety we get, for example. So, the good rules from trading in the zone. 7. I objectively identify my edges. I predefine the risk. I completely accept the risk, or I won't get in the trade. Because if you are afraid even before you hit the buy button, you are in trouble. And when you see the edge, you act without reservation. Like we talked about with Sarah. She started to be hesitant before getting in a trade. And just a question you can answer in the chat or speak up. What did the apes have that worked in their favor? What was their really, really favorable thing when it comes to market psychology, in your opinion? If we take back when AMC went to 72, for example, what did the apes have? Oh my god!
I think it had it had a. I think it had an enormous emotional backing behind it.
Yep,
is what it was.
Yeah,
and that the entire community was able to mass and communicate all at the same time to keep that emotion going, and that drove the conviction, it drove the emotion, it drove the excitement, and everything needed for people to keep buying and hodling, essentially.
Yeah, I agree, but I think there was one thing even more, and I think that's in the quiz, so we are gonna save it and see. But I totally agree, and the communication is really interesting, because I know that you guys talk a lot on the Twitter calls about how retail is gonna take their piece of the pie more and more, and I agree, because now we have social media, we have ways to communicate with traders all over the world, and that's pretty amazing. Back to the rules for now. I pay myself with the market's money available to me. And this is important. And you should not only pay yourself, in my opinion. You gotta treat yourself. If you make $40 one week, buy that bottle of champagne or whatever, treat yourself. And monitor your susceptibility for making errors. And be sure to know when you broke your rules, because, as the last rules say, you really never should violate these rules. Because when you start to do it, you are in trouble, like we saw with that trader example. Okay, I think we are gonna stop here, but I noticed there is one picture missing. And let's see if I can find it real quick online and we can put it in, because I wanted to add a picture. Let's see. Someone else can talk for a minute, please, so I don't feel stressed.
I was asking in chat. Does anybody have any questions about what he covered? You can speak. Thank you, Stonk, for speaking. We love when members want to jump in.
Yeah.
It is a lot of pressure. It's just being the ones talking all the time, so we appreciate that. And there was a really good story. But if anybody has any questions, you can speak, or you can put it in the text channel about what we just covered. Great class. Don't y'all go anywhere. We got the quiz coming up. And please feel free to share your struggles. That story said about Sarah, that might as well be me. I think maybe subconsciously or consciously he did that. But as y'all can see in chat, I never, ever, ever have an issue sharing the struggles. And it's not because I want y'all to think, oh my God, it's so hard, blah, blah. It's because I want y'all to know you're not alone. I think that is like super, super important, especially when I read that book. I was just like, fuck, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not psychotic. I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one. And so it's super important, not to mention, I want you all to feel comfortable about speaking about your issues. I mean, if I do, and I'm an owner, why can't you? We can't help you through it, and we can't help each other through it if we don't know, right? So I always want y'all to feel comfortable with speaking up. It'll help tremendously. I'm sorry, you got the picture, Con?
Yeah, it's in the chat, and I think this is another mistake that a lot of people make, that they are very result oriented. I lost, it's a bad trade. I won, it's a great trade, and that's it. Instead of looking at the whole process. How did I make my decision? Okay, I followed my rules. I won. Great. I lost. No big deal. There will be more trades. I broke my rules. If I won and broke my rules, I was lucky. If I start to think like, oh, this is how I'm going to trade, I think this is where a lot of the FOMO comes in, for example. You break your rules, you drive in a trade, and then you get 50% win rate. You are not going to keep that up a lot of the times. And if you broke your rules and lost, yeah, you got what you deserved. So that was the picture that for some reason didn't come. I think I had two versions of the PowerPoint. Let's hope the quiz is more up to par. Are you going to do the quiz? I'm not a good game host.
Yes, I will do the quiz, only
Great.
because I'm even though I don't try to be. So I put the link here that it's the audiobook for what this class was based off of. So for anyone who wants it, Trading in the Zone, that's what this class was based off of. And if you don't already know, make sure you know the way to the text section because for this class, because you cannot speak the answers, you can only message in the text section for the class for the answers. And without further ado, if anybody doesn't have any questions, we can start the quiz. Greed. I think a lot of people struggle with the greed.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, a lot of, like, if you make $20 a trade, it's $100 a week, that's $400 a month.
Yeah. I can post a picture of the most common. I mean, we have talked about this so much, I didn't want to include. But here we have the classics.
Mine, I would say, after that loss was nervousness, anxiety, and doubt, and fear.
You never been really greedy, right?
Mm-mm. Nope. I'm happy with my bill money and keep it moving. I was very logical when I started. I knew I just wanted to make the money for my bills. And later on, I would, once I gained more knowledge and became a better trader, got my mental game, got my technical analysis game, all that, I would shoot for higher targets. But I always just, I started with my targets just to pay my bills. I don't want this awesome, fancy, huge millionaire life. I still don't. I want to leave a mark in the world through my kids and through here, helping others to be successful. And then I want to travel one day. I don't need that $1 million lifestyle. That's just not me. I don't even like real jewelry. I wear the fake costume jewelry. I don't even like gold and stuff. I'm a simple person.
Yeah, and Sergeant is adding something really important. And you don't have to trade every day. And I think if I'm gonna say one bad thing
Oh,
about Discord and being in a great group like this one, it is that you kind of get hooked on trading. But I mean, some days just don't trade. If you don't find a good setup, if you feel the fear, just stay out. Just have fun, read a book, talk in chat, learn some new things, fool around with Salim and the guys in the lounge.
Yep, I'm glad you brought that up, Sergeant. You don't have to trade every day. Like Kron said, you don't have to trade every day. And a lot of people I hear, well, I'm out of the money in my account. I'll be back when I can put some more money back in. Or I'm gonna focus on learning. And like they disappear. Or newbies. Oh God, this drives me crazy. Well, I'm new to trading and everything, and once I fund my account, then I'll come and start joining classes. Bruh, why do you want to start learning when you got the money in your account? No. Start learning now before you got the money there, because then you're going to be tempted. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having the money there and starting, to learn, but don't say that. Don't say, I'll be back when I got money in my account. No, start learning now. If you're going to take a break from right now, I'm taking a break from trading. This is well known. And this was the first book that I read, Trading in the Zone. And I'm still here every day. I may not be on as much, because I'm trying, the goal was to be focusing on learning and stuff, but I've had some other issues. But anyway, I'm still here. You don't have to disappear in order to be learning. This is where you're going to learn. You don't have to disappear because things went south. This is where you're going to get that support. Don't become the 90%. We can't help you if you're not here. We can't come together as a team, as a family to make it through this. I had someone tell me recently, it was on Twitter. Well, not recently, it was a couple months back. And I was talking, getting in my passionate zone. I get it. And I was like, they say 95% of traders fail and blah, blah, blah. F that. We're going to change that. We got Twitter and social media, and we got this and got that, blah, blah, blah. And, we're going to change that statistic. And I mean, this is kind of sad, but it also made me feel really good. He was like, I think you're going to break that statistic in your server. I don't know if you're going to break it all overall. That made me feel really good. But also, I think we can break it overall. That's why we come together. That's why we do things like DD for Dummies, Skunk Vision. They hold their DD for Skunk Vision Low Key. They hold their DD for Dummies every Sunday. Of course, there's some Sundays that life, etc. But they hold DD for Dummies every Sunday on Twitter. It's just like our classes almost. It's a place to go and learn and have community and support. About the stock market. They even have Moa's Mindset, which focuses on the mindset, kind of like what we're doing here right now. And y'all know I always announce it in chat. DD for Dummies was where I taught online for the very first time. So I wouldn't even be here right now if it wasn't for that moment, that pivotal moment in my life. So y'all definitely need to check out Skunk Vision, DDs for Dummies every Sunday. But bringing platforms together, bringing people together, not just Discord people, not just Twitter people, but bridging that gap. I got that saying from Stonk Vision. Bridging that gap is what we're doing. All of us coming together, trying to ensure that retail gets their piece of the money pie. And as much as we hate the 1% and the hedge funds and all that, the one thing we do need to get is the mental. We need to get that. It is not fiction. It is not a rumor. It is not, I think, blah, blah, blah. That 90% of trading is mental. 90% of trading is, in fact, a mental game. You have got to grasp it. You have got to study it. Just like people think leadership, that they don't have to study leadership. Now, I'm a firm believer, some leadership, either you're born with it or you're not, right? And I do believe that. But even if you're born with it, you still need to grow it. I read books on leadership throughout my life. I wanted to feed that knowledge. I wanted to become even a better leader. You have to, even if it's mental, you have to learn on it, practice it, groom it, make it better.
Hey Queen, this is Toby. How y'all
Hey,
doing today? I want to tell y'all, look, I greatly appreciate this. This was a awesome class for me because I've been doing this for 20 years, and this is really like, I've always felt like, man, what did I do wrong? Because look, I've made money with it, and I've lost a lot of money with it. Both ways, and this fits me to the T because at the point, greed is probably one of my biggest problems right now, which, being with you guys has really sort of kind of helping me get over that a little bit. And I think that's my biggest problem from not making profit on a regular basis. So, like I said, it's been a good deal for me just being with you guys and listening to all these calls and classes and stuff because it's definitely given me a change, mindset change. So I just want to tell y'all I appreciate it. It really helps out a lot.
oh, thank you. Damn it,
Thank you
no,
so much.
I'm crying. That's really, really good to hear. And you're such a sweetheart. We love having you here and we love the support you show. And I'm super proud of you. I really, really am. Dang it, Toby. Oh, I'm crying. Okay, hold on. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate hearing that. And that's the goal. And we can't help each other if we don't open up about the struggles because the struggles are real in this game. Unbelievably real. But if you don't open up about them, we can't help each other and we can't be there for each other. So I always, always, always encourage y'all to do that, whether it's the mental part, whether it's the learning part. Don't be embarrassed if you don't know something. Don't be embarrassed to be wrong. I still say to this day, I'll be in chat like I'm confused. What are you talking about? What does that mean? And it could be a simple thing, and then they tell me, I'm like, oh, and yeah, I feel a little silly, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna end up being successful. I'm gonna grow on my success, so I'm okay with looking a little silly and asking some questions that people may think, damn, this bitch an owner. She don't know that shit. Nope, I don't. But I brought this group together so that we could all learn and grow together, so I could help other people because I knew the struggle that I had went through when I was a baby trader, and I didn't want other people to go through that. So please, please, please take advantage of it. Any other stuff before we get on to the quiz? Uh, I've part of it. Use both sides. Okay, that's good. The left part of your brain is analytical and mathematical. The right side of your brain is emotional. You must use both sides.
Yeah.
I'm showing otherwise my ADHD is wild. Same. Bipolar and ADHD. It is fun. Okay. So we will jump on to the quiz.
Yeah.
Are y'all
And-
ready?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
some of these questions, since it is about mentality, we may accept more than one answer, and the if question is going to be tricky, but there I'm going to look for a specific answer just to be a bit harsh.
Okay, Kron, I'm going to let you look for the answers then, since there's some that you'll accept.
Okay.
Okay, ready? So now to do the quiz. Everybody, I hope everybody by now, I know we have some new people, know where to go, because I just want to make sure y'all know where to go for the quiz part. It's if you look to the right hand side, you'll see like this little message icon. You click on there and it'll open up a chat. And that's where you can message the answers. The first one to send the correct answer wins. This one, as we said, may be open to interpretation, so it's whatever Kron deems the proper answer. All right. I will read the question and then I will post it. All right. According to the theory in this presentation, you need to analyze your mental, fundamental, and aspect of trading.
Sergeant?
What is lubrication? What?
Technical? Damn, he was quick.
Technical. Okay. Oh, I
Yeah.
always saw the other one. I was like, what? That's the answer? Okay. Okay. Sergeant got one. You track the answers too, Kron. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Many traders are very result oriented, but should instead focus more on what?
Damn, Sergeant is on fire. Process.
Nice.
That was the part I panicked there because I was about to miss that. It would have made a quiz.
Oh, that's why you were
Yeah.
on finding it. Okay. All right. Next one. According to professional psychologists, counselors, the best way to get rid of prejudice and biases is by doing what?
Yeah, I'm gonna give that to Rob. You need to look what you have. Everyone has prejudice, for example. But cocaine was a pretty good answer too. And of course, removing emotion. But I'm gonna give it to Rob.
Okay. Next question, number 4. What is an edge in trading?
The corner. I want a longer answer.
He wants a longer answer. So I see some correct answers in there, but just come up with a longer.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this to Canadian. But yeah, it can be a lot of things. But we stick with the presentation.
Okay. So a lot of you got it right. He was just looking for an overall answer. Number 5. Why do many traders experience a huge win rate when they begin trading and then a setback?
Yep. I'm giving that to UK. Lack of fear.
Okay.
Because we are still sticking with the theories from the book and presentation. But I mean, there are, like Frederick say, there are a lot of like correct answers. So this quiz is different since we don't have like, oh, what happens when the MACD crosses the blah blah.
Yeah, so there can be many answers on this, but we're going off the presentation.
Yeah, I'm corrupt as a judge.
Knowledge is, of course, power. But what can be the risk of taking a lot of time to learn more about TA and jump back in? I swear he made this rounded off me.
No, because this is true about 90%. Oversleeping. Yeah, we've been there, everyone. Yeah, a lot of good answers again, but we need to make this a bit exciting too. I'm gonna give this one to Roman. Hesitation and doubt. And oversleeping, yeah. That's a bonus. A half point.
The next one. We have 9 questions, so we got 3 more. Okay. What do you always need to predefine before entering a trade according to the 7 rules?
Yep. This one was spot on. Rookie got it. Risk. Always need to predefine the risk.
I think you said it first, risk. He said it before I sent the...
Oh, damn, that was so quick. I did. Sorry, TQ.
Okay. Number 8. Who is the biggest enemy when trading?
Oh, damn. Yeah, yourself, your mind. A lot of Kenny. I knew that was gonna come up. But yeah, who was first? Stevie, right?
Yeah, DB Jones.
Yep. Hang on.
All right.
Okay, I messed up the points here too. UK got 2.
Okay. And the final question.
Wait, I think I got another point. Messed up. There should be. Okay, we will have to do a recount if we have a draw here.
Generally speaking, what attribute did the apes have that made them successful during the squeeze?
And think of the presentation here. Because there could be thousands of answers. Yeah, Roman, you have a point. Correct. Sorry. I knew 1 point was missing.
Reddit.
Yep, Piku, damn right, lack of fear. Total lack of fear. And I think that was the main edge the apes had. And so that's the book. Okay, we have a draw. We're gonna have like a... Are we gonna have like a bonus question between these gentlemen?
Normally, when we have a draw, we give it to all 3. Or do you want to do a bonus question?
Okay, it seems...
We'll do as we always do and give them all.
I
all
don't
a trophy.
know. I think a duel would be...
Y'all want to duel?
I don't
I
know.
don't want to lose. I forfeit.
Or we can split it.
Okay, they both will
Because, I
get.
mean, there were a lot of questions that could have had a lot of answers right, so it's to be a bit fair. I know I'm corrupt, but I'm gonna end on a good note.
Oh, so everybody gets a trophy and a prize?
Yeah.
Everybody who participated gets a trophy and a prize. Whoop whoop. Okay, so.
Okay, our recorder Frederick needs sleep, so maybe we can formally say thank you, but we are gonna stay for a couple of minutes, I think.
Well, before Frederick gets off, one moment. Now that this quiz is done, I know who our quarterly first cash prize winner that will get $200. That needs to let me know how to send them the money, and that is UK Rob. So fantastic job! I'm so excited! Yay! We're giving our first one away.
Wow.
And again, great thanks to our anonymous donor. But yep, UK Rob gets first cash prize, $200.
How many did he win?
5. 5 for the quarter. Yep, and then remember,
Wow.
start April, we will have ones for the most winner for April, ones for the most winner for May, and then in June we will have combined April, May, and June the most winners. So $100 for April most winners, $100 for May most winners, and then $200 in June that we give out for the most winners for April, May, and June. So yay, go UK Rob. And let me tell y'all, he's a brand new trader. He came to us. He's new on the trading and everything, and he's been studying. And like I'm super proud of him. I remember when we first met. It's awesome. I'm very, very proud. Did we have any other questions?
Not so sure about that. CPI in UK came out really, really bad, didn't it? The inflation is horrible, even in UK. Yeah.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. You're very, very welcome. All right. Remember, any feedback, please hit up our DMs. Let us know, or in chat. We are always open to it. These classes, the server, it is not out. It is not mine and Cron's. It is not mine, Cron's, and the mods. It is ours. It is all of ours. It is to help make everyone grow and be successful. So please share with us your thoughts and ideas. And on that note, awesome job, everyone. And we will see y'all next Sunday and see you in chat.
Yep. Have a good one.